So the news has reached people today in around the Catholic world that Monsignor Dominic Ray of the Diocese of Fréjus Toulon in France has been asked to resign by Pope Francis. So he's been asked to resign 3 years earlier to his retirement. And this has been there's been polemics and discussions about this bishop for a while now. Maybe some of the decisions he made weren't prudent, allowing certain foundations to happen in his diocese or certain priests to arrive to his diocese. I know really personally that there was one priest who was an ex-legionary of Christ who came to his diocese, and later there was problems with his charismatic movement and so on and so forth. And I think people know the problems that were in the diocese. But I'm going to throw this out there because I know bishops listen to my channel. I'm going to throw it out to you, bishops, cardinals, hierarchy of the church. What bishop makes no mistakes? I mean, the reality, the bishops that make no mistakes are the bishops who do nothing. That's it. If you want a diocese with no innovation, with no growth, just appoint people who are yes men. Yes, Nuncio, I'll do this. Yes, Pope Francis, I'll do this. Yes. That's it. Don't appoint bishops who are evangelizers, innovators, and so forth. And we really have to take a step back and look at the panorama in Europe at the moment, in Ireland, England, France, Germany, Netherlands, Spain, Italy. Most of the dioceses are in decline. I kid you not. This bishop has a very key role, or will have a very key role, in the renewal of the faith in Ireland. It's ironic in a way, it's paradoxical in a way, but Monsignor Dominic Ray, his legacy will live on in Ireland in a very strange way. Because Monsignor Dominic Ray, in his tenure as bishop, ordained more Irishmen than many Irish bishops will do during their entire tenure as bishop. For example, Monsignor Dominic Ray has ordained more Irishmen. I mean, they're a tiny minority of who he's ordained, but he's ordained more Irishmen, for example, than the Bishop of Killala did, or the Bishop of Conry did, or the Bishop of Elphin did, or the Bishop of Clonfert did, during his whole tenure. And why is that? Why did so many men go to his diocese, to different groups in his diocese? Well, we only have to look back at Ireland, at the crisis of the faith that we were suffering in Ireland, and especially spiritual directors telling people who were coming to them, don't go to Maynooth 10 years ago. Many people were saying, whatever you do, do not go to train in Maynooth. And so it's a strange situation where you have the crisis in the church driving people to his diocese because he was allowing them to get the formation that they were looking for, or maybe the apostles they were looking for. And yet he is the one that's asked to resign. The Vatican has got it totally wrong. They are sacking the wrong bishops at the moment. He made serious mistakes. I know them. People know them. That's why he got a cojunctor bishop, a bishop to help him, assigned by Pope Francis. But the prudent thing for the Vatican, for Pope Francis to have done, would be to let him live out his last 3 years with a cojunctor bishop. And he would have retired and there would be no polemics. But the fact that the Vatican now, Pope Francis has asked for Bishop Dominic Ray to resign, it really stings. It really shows bad judgment on the top of the hierarchy. It really does. And people might say, well, Robert, you don't know everything. You don't know what you don't know. Maybe not. Maybe yes, maybe not. I think I know enough. And as I said, he got the ire of the Vatican for promoting too many traditional groups, traditional foundations, traditional parishes to operate. But I know for a fact, for example, if somebody comes to them and say, look, there's this closed church here that it's been closed for a number of years. Can we use it to offer traditional Latin Mass? And the bishop says yes. And they set up and they open the church and people start going to Mass. And people say, well, why are you doing this? And he wasn't noted for being promoting one side. He was very charismatic. He was promoting the charismatic. He was promoting traditional Catholics. I mean, he had zeal. He had love for the church. That's the reality of it, guys. And he made mistakes. But again, I asked the question to the church leadership, which bishops are not making mistakes? The bishops who are doing absolutely nothing. And look around the landscape of your diocese in Europe, you're looking at the decline. You're looking at the decline of the church. You're administering the decline of the church. You're failing to recognize where the Holy Spirit is actually working. I feel sad for the bishop, but at least in 20, 30 years, his legacy will live on in France and in Ireland. His legacy will live on in Ireland. The Irish priests he ordained will have a pivotal role in the renewal of the faith in Ireland. And pray for him. But I find it extremely sad, the situation in the church, in the sense that, such weak leadership. And I asked the question, what is the role of a bishop? What is a bishop called to do? Are bishops today purely yes men, secretaries to the Pope? Is that what a Roman Catholic is? A secretary to the Pope. So the Pope says this, you do that. Well, but where is the apostolic mission of the church? Where is the apostolic zeal of our bishops in the church? Where are they leading us to the path to holiness, union with God, sanctification? Where is it? Or is it, I get appointed, I stay in my bishop's palace or my bishop's headquarters, and I make no noise and I make no mistakes. The nuncio never sends me an email, and I'll quietly manage the diocese to decline. Every single Irish diocese is in decline. Bar Armagh, which thankfully has the neo-catechumenal seminary, but if it wasn't for that seminary in Armagh, that diocese would also be in decline. Every single indicator in Ireland is in decline. Every single Catholic indicator in Britain is in decline. In France, bar some of the dioceses, decline. Spain, Portugal, Italy, Germany, Switzerland. We need not talk about the Low Countries, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg. And Germany, the numbers speak for themselves. Consistently, hundreds of thousands of people renounce their Catholic membership. Poland, Slovakia. We have such poor leadership. We really do. Because the great crisis of the faith in the church today is they're appointing bishops who are not in a state of union with God. They're not in that unitive state of prayer. They're not. They're not. So that's why there's no fruits in their diocese. There's no zeal. What comes out of them that would encourage you to give your life to Christ? Extremely little. And this is what we're facing in Europe. This is the crisis in the faith. This is the nub of it. You need to understand. They'll appoint a good administrators, that'll administrate the diocese, that'll know canon law, yada, 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 yada. Guys, this is the sad thing. And the strange thing about it, Bishop Dominque Ray, he actually had an incredible zeal for the faith. Actually has an incredible zeal for the faith. He loves the church. And they saw in him leadership qualities for a reason that he was appointed bishop by John Paul II, encouraged by Pope Benedict. It's like you can't invent this, guys. You know, he lives through Pope Benedict's pontificate. Pope Benedict issues Summorum Pontificum. He embraces Summorum Pontificum. Encourages if priests want to celebrate the traditional Latin Mass, go ahead and celebrate the traditional Latin Mass. Then comes along Pope Francis, and then we have a change in leadership. Then we have this synodal church. It seems like It seems like this church needs to destroy the apostolic nature of the church in order to invent the synodal aspect of the church. We need to get rid of, we see it with the dicastery of religious life where, a bishop is being replaced by a nun. Okay, I mean, in theory, she probably very holy lady and probably might do better. But you can't evade the reality that the church is an apostolic church. And trying to shoe in this synodal thing into the church, it'll be interesting how this new invention works its way through. But at the end of the day, the church has one mission, and Pope Benedict said this. It is the only institution that can help us on the path to union with God, sanctification, salvation of souls. And that we're not doing that job. And it's truly sad. It's tragic. It's tragic when you look around society because people are yearning for something, an answer. We have Bishop Varden in Norway, one of the few bishops in Europe that's actually waking people up a little bit. Europe's Robert Barron. But we're like, guys, what are we doing? We're just, it's the administration of the decline of the European Catholic Church at the moment. Really. It seems, but look, it'll be an interesting time. But when you see the likes of some bishops that should have been told to resign and weren't, I ask the question, guys. I ask the question, what is going on here? And I think it's truly sad. And I think I speak for a lot of Catholics. But, it does, as I said, the bishops that don't make any mistakes are the bishops that usually do nothing. Nothing. Like our diocese, where we are. They can't even say the Mass as translated. We have no vocations. There is no catechesis, adult catechesis. There hasn't been a religious foundation in this diocese in 30 years, 40 years. And, no wondering they're doing mergers. Where's the zeal? If you'd given your life to the church, if you've given your life to Christ, give the people Christ. Teach the faith in schools. But instead, we've allowed the world to completely absorb our Catholic institutions to such an extent that, what? Like, really? in our local school where my kids go to school, they replaced the cross in the chapel with an LGBT panel in 2019 at their graduation mass. What's the point? What's the point, guys? Do people not see what's going on in the church? Am I the only one? Anyway, you need to recognize these calls for resignation for what they are. It's a warning sign to other bishops. Keep your head down type of thing. Don't rock the boat type of thing. Get on board with the synodal process type of thing. This is where we're moving. Don't go allowing too many foundations and accepting priests into your diocese. Don't go doing this. Don't go having too many ordinations, because he consistently had ordinations every year. And as I said, he ordained many men in his tenure as bishop than many dioceses in Ireland did. More men than many Irish dioceses have ordained. And why is that? Why is that? Ask the question and pray for the church. I'm sorry it's a rant, but I said, I really do ask the question, like, guys, where is the church going? Leadership is so poor, and it needs to be called out. Because the church, what we need now is holy pastors that will teach us the path to holiness. No point in having universal call to holiness in a document in Vatican II when our leaders are not holy. They can't pastor us to union with God. They can't mentor us to union with God because they don't know it. Nobody's led them there. It is the crisis of the faith in the church, is a crisis of holiness, of sanctity. Lead us there. Lead us to where you've arrived. Lead us, or speak of your experience of God. And so many can't speak of their experience of union with God. They can't tell us because they don't have it. And so they've no zeal. And so there's no fruits. There's no vocations. There's no fruits. No fruits in their diocese. Who would follow that? Who would give their life for that? There's no fruits. The Holy Spirit has abandoned them. Christ has exited their meetings, their synodal this and their synodal that. You know, one priest said to me their synodal meetings are retirement conversations. It's all people in their 50s, 60s, and the bishop and a few priests. It's a retirement club. If you're going to have a synodal church, where are the voices, under 40s voices? Those are the voices you need to be hearing if the synodal process is, but they're not there, they're absent. Or very scant, if at all present. And then what is the process? What is this process actually going to do in the church? Like, really? As I said, this synodal process is the hijacking of the apostolic mission of the church. It's an abnegation. It's a resignation of the apostolic mission of the church. That's what the synodal process is. It is, and Cardinal Muller has called it out for what it is. He's been previous prefect for the doctrine of the faith. 10 years, you probably won't even have a successor of the apostle as prefect for the doctrine of the faith the way things are going. As I said, you know, synodal. Where is the apostolic? Where are the successors of the apostles in all this? I mean, one thing that Bishop Dominque you need to understand, when Bishop Dominque Ray gave an interview to John Henry Weston, he signed his death knell. No bishop can talk to John Henry Weston. You need to know this. Anybody, any church official that gives interviews to John Henry Weston is persona non grata in the Vatican. So that's simply it. You know, They don't like that type of media outlet. And he gave an interview which really was the end of it, to be honest. But look, pray for the church. And, I give this in good faith, but you need to understand the crisis in the church is a crisis of sanctity, holiness, from the top down. This is it. This is where we are. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.